When night falls, we all stand on a threshold, between the day that has ended and the day that has not yet arrived. This moment, quiet but powerful, is where the human heart decides, do I carry the weight of today into my sleep? Or do I set it down and rest? Across cultures and centuries, people have searched for ways to close the day with wisdom. In ancient Japan, samurai warriors practiced mokuso, a few minutes of silent meditation before laying down their swords at dusk. They knew that the mind that goes to rest in turmoil will wake in turmoil. In Greece, the philosopher Epictetus reminded his students to review their day each evening. Not to condemn themselves, but to grow in clarity. Even in America's history, Abraham Lincoln, bearing the grief of war, was said to pause at night and whisper gratitude for any small mercy that kept hope alive. Buddhism offers its own guidance. Reflection is medicine for the restless heart. The Buddha compared each day to a footprint on the path, complete in itself. No matter how small, you don't need to perfect the journey in one step, you just need to honor it. In meditation, monks strike a gong at the close of evening practice. The sound rises, rings, and fades. That fading teaches the truth of impermanence. Everything ends. And that's what makes it precious. Astrology, too, reflects this wisdom in the sky. The moon waxes and wanes, teaching us that light and darkness are both temporary. Saturn moves slowly, demanding patience, reminding us that progress is measured in cycles, not in instant perfection. Jupiter expands what we focus on, when we end the day with gratitude. It multiplies, when we end the day with resentment. That multiplies too. The stars echo what the Dharma has always known, endings are not failures, but transitions. So tonight, as you listen with us here on Dharma Veins, imagine yourself standing at this threshold. Close your eyes, take one slow breath. With the inhale, gather everything the day has given you, its joys, its mistakes, its surprises. With the exhale, release it into the vast night sky. What remains is peace. The 6 reminders you'll hear are not just words. They are keys to unlock rest, to release clinging, to expand compassion, and to plant seeds of serenity for tomorrow's dawn. At the end of each day, the mind loves to replay every moment like a broken record, what you should have said in that meeting, how you could have handled that conversation better, or the endless to-do list waiting for tomorrow. But imagine this instead. Picture a simple wooden box in front of you. Place inside it the laughter you heard, the mistakes you made, the words you regret, even the victories that still make your heart race. Close the lid gently, seal it, place it on a shelf in the library of your mind. Whisper to yourself, today is complete. This act isn't about dismissing your responsibilities or ignoring your growth. It's about honoring impermanence, the truth the Buddha called one of life's greatest teachers. Just as no flower blooms forever, no day can be stretched beyond its sunset. To cling to a day after it has ended is like holding onto the flame of a candle that has already burned out. What remains is memory, and memory is not meant to be carried as a burden. Buddhist monks often strike a gong at the close of evening meditation. The sound rises, rings out, then fades into silence. It signals closure. The practice is over. No one lingers, waiting for the echo to return. That's the spirit of this reflection. By saying, today is complete, you become like the monk with the gong. You declare that the chapter has closed, and you free yourself to rest. Astrology, too, speaks this language of cycles. The moon never resists its phases. It waxes, shines full, then disappears into darkness, only to return again. Saturn completes its orbit around the zodiac every 29 years, each cycle marking the end of one life stage and the beginning of another. These cosmic rhythms mirror our daily ones. Each night is a miniature Saturn return, reminding us that closure is not death, it's preparation for renewal. Try this short meditation. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and imagine the stars above you as witnesses. With each breath out, release the weight of the day, the arguments, the joy, the worry, the unfinished tasks. With each breath in, feel the vastness of the night sky, a reminder that your life is woven into something infinite. You are allowed to rest because the universe itself rests. Planets pause in retrograde. Seasons turn, tides retreat. You, too, are part of that rhythm. There's a folk story of a farmer who spent his nights weeping over fields he thought he had ruined. Each day he obsessed over the patches where crops failed. One evening, an old traveler told him, "The earth doesn't mourn what it has given. It simply waits for the next rain." That night, the farmer finally slept. By spring, the barren patches had sprouted wildflowers. Not crops, but beauty all the same. His sorrow had blinded him to the gifts of completion. Likewise, you don't need to drag the failures of today into your sleep. They've already done their work, teaching you patience, humility, or compassion. Nor do you need to cling to your successes, fearing they'll vanish by morning. Both joy and sorrow belong to the past once the day has closed. What's left is wisdom and the freedom to rest. So tonight, when your head touches the pillow, pause, visualize the box, place inside it everything that belongs to the hours now gone. Close it, set it aside, whisper gently, "Today is complete," and let that phrase soften your heart like rain on dry soil. Because letting go isn't failure, it is wisdom. It is the art of honoring impermanence, trusting that tomorrow will arrive on its own time, carrying new gifts you don't yet see. Gratitude isn't just a polite, "thank you." It is a shift of perception, a reorientation of the heart. Every evening, before sleep, pause and name 3 small things you are grateful for. Not the grand achievements or life-changing events, but the quiet blessings that are so easy to overlook. A warm meal that filled your belly. A smile exchanged with a stranger. The way the evening sky turned pink for just a few minutes. These are not small. They are proof that life, even in its ordinary rhythm, is endlessly generous. The Buddha taught that a mind filled with gratitude is a mind that cannot be shaken by greed or despair. In one sutra, he compared gratitude to fertile soil. Whatever seeds are planted there, patience, compassion, wisdom, will take root and flourish. Without gratitude, even the greatest fortune feels empty. With gratitude, even the smallest gift feels abundant. Astrology also whispers this lesson. Venus, the planet of love and beauty, is said to bless us most not when we chase luxury, but when we notice beauty in the everyday, the glimmer of morning dew, the laughter of children, the softness of music at dusk. Gratitude is a Venusian practice, to stop grasping outward and instead recognize that life already surrounds us with treasures. Jupiter, planet of expansion, magnifies whatever it touches. A grateful heart under Jupiter's influence multiplies blessings, while a complaining heart multiplies dissatisfaction. The stars mirror the truth Buddhism has always taught: what you focus on expands. Try this short meditation. Sit quietly, place a hand on your chest, and breathe deeply. With each inhale, whisper silently, "This breath is a gift." With each exhale, whisper, "Thank you." Let the rhythm carry you. Soon, gratitude no longer feels like a forced list but like a current moving through your body. The heart softens, the mind quiets. Sleep becomes easier because you no longer go to bed chasing what you lack, you go to bed warmed by what you have. There's a story from the Buddhist tradition of a monk who was given only a single bowl of rice each day. Some days, the rice was stale or plain. Yet every evening, before sleep, he bowed to that bowl and whispered thanks. When a student asked why he was grateful for such meager food, the monk smiled, "Because the rice reminds me that I am alive today. And being alive is never small." The student never forgot that teaching, because it revealed how gratitude transforms even the ordinary into the extraordinary. In American folklore, there's the story of Johnny Appleseed, a wanderer who planted apple seeds wherever he traveled. Many mocked him, saying he wasted his life on something so small. But generations later, families gathered under apple trees, eating the fruit he planted. Gratitude works the same way. What looks small now becomes nourishment for tomorrow. Every thank you, every recognition, is a seed. When you close your eyes tonight, remember that your life is supported by countless invisible hands: the farmer who grew your food, the stranger who smiled at you on the street, the tree that gave you shade, the planet itself spinning faithfully to bring you morning. None of these gifts are truly yours, they are part of an intricate web of connection. To recognize them is to see reality with the eyes of the heart. Say quietly, "I am grateful for the gifts of today." Let your mind travel back over the day and pause at 3 moments that made life possible. softer, or more beautiful. See them clearly, smile at them, bow inwardly, then let gratitude carry you into sleep like a warm blanket, reminding you that you already have enough, that life has already given you more than you realized. Because gratitude is not just an emotion. It is wisdom, it is freedom, and it is the doorway to peace. Anger is like holding a burning coal, waiting to throw it at someone else. The Buddha said it best, the first person who gets burned is you. Many of us go to bed at night still clutching that coal, replaying the hurt, fueling the resentment. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the harm never happened. It means freeing the heart from the prison of poison. In Buddhist stories, there's a tale of Angulimala, the bandit who had taken many lives. When he met the Buddha, people thought he was beyond redemption. Yet the Buddha offered compassion instead of hatred. Angulimala renounced violence and became a monk. This story reminds us that forgiveness is not approval of wrongdoing, but a refusal to chain ourselves to anger. If even a murderer could transform, how much more can we release the smaller wounds that haunt us? Astrology, too, gives us images for this. When Mars, the planet of conflict, goes retrograde, astrologers say its energy turns inward. Old fights resurface. Unresolved anger demands attention. But this retrograde isn't a curse, it's an invitation to slow down, to examine our reactions, and to soften them. In the same way, life will always circle back to test our ability to forgive, like planetary cycles returning to the same point until we've learned the lesson. Forgiveness is how we graduate from the orbit of bitterness. Here's a short meditation. Close your eyes and imagine the person you cannot forgive standing before you. See the anger in your chest as a cloud of smoke. With every breath, say silently, I release this. I deserve peace. Watch the smoke dissolve into the air. You don't need to force love or erase memory. Just release enough to sleep unchained tonight. Forgiveness begins with yourself. Too often, we carry guilt heavier than any anger toward others. Maybe you snapped at your child. Maybe you failed a friend. The Buddha reminded us we are all learners on the path. No one walks without stumbling. Imagine a child learning to walk. Each fall is not failure but practice. Speak gently to yourself. I did the best I could with what I knew. I forgive myself. This compassion for yourself opens the door to extend compassion outward. There's a folktale of two monks crossing a muddy river. One carried a woman on his back to help her cross. Hours later, the younger monk scolded him. We are monks. Why did you carry her? The elder replied, I set her down on the riverbank. Why are you still carrying her? We often carry people in our minds long after the moment has passed. Forgiveness is setting them down, so we can walk free. The stars remind us that nothing is permanent, not even anger. Just as the moon waxes and wanes, our emotions rise and fade. When we refuse to forgive, we cling to a single phase of the moon and miss the beauty of its changing light. When we release, we allow our inner sky to keep moving. So tonight, remind yourself, I forgive myself and others, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Let the coal drop from your hand. Let the chains fall from your chest. Let your dreams be free from the smoke of resentment. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it is remembering without poison. It is choosing freedom over fire. Each day is a lesson, not an exam. Yet many of us climb into bed grading ourselves harshly. I should have been more patient. I could have worked harder. I wasn't kind enough. But Buddhist wisdom reminds us that life is not a test you pass or fail, it's a path you walk. Every smile you gave, every moment you returned to your breath, every time you held your tongue instead of lashing out, those were all steps of practice. Perfection isn't the measure, sincerity is. The Buddha never demanded flawless disciples. He asked only for effort, for honest practice. He said, little by little, a person becomes filled with good. As a jar is filled drop by drop. A jar doesn't need to be full at the end of one day. It just needs another drop. Tonight, when you look back on your day, don't count the empty space in the jar. Count the drops. In astrology, Saturn is often called the teacher of discipline. When Saturn touches our lives, it rarely rewards perfection. Instead, it values persistence, humility, and the willingness to learn from mistakes. Like Saturn's slow orbit, taking 29 years to return to its place, our growth is measured in cycles. not in instant results. Tonight, say to yourself, I practiced as best as I could. That phrase honors the long arc of growth, not the fleeting stumbles of today. Here's a short meditation. Close your eyes. Picture a garden. See yourself planting tiny seeds, each seed a kind word. A breath of mindfulness, a small act of restraint. The garden doesn't bloom in a single night, but the earth remembers. Your practice is never lost. Whisper to yourself, today I planted seeds. That is enough. And feel the pressure of perfection soften into patience. There's a story of a monk sweeping the monastery floor. One day, frustrated, he complained, this dirt never ends. Every morning I sweep, and by evening the dust returns. An elder smiled and said, you're not sweeping dirt. You're sweeping your mind. The monk realized his practice wasn't wasted. Each sweep was shaping his heart, even if the floor looked the same. In the same way, every attempt you made today, even if it seemed small, was practice shaping your spirit. American folklore offers the tale of Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he replied, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This echoes the Buddhist path. The stumbles are not wasted steps. They are part of the walking. They prove that you are alive, learning, unfolding. Think of the moon in the night sky. Sometimes it shows as only a thin crescent, barely visible. Other times it shines full and bright. But in every phase, it is still the moon. Your practice is like that. Some days you glow with patience and kindness. Other days you show only a sliver. Both are part of the cycle. Both are valid. Both belong. So tonight, release the harsh judgment of your mind. You are not on trial. You are on a journey. Even the smallest effort, a moment of awareness, a single act of compassion, is worthy of respect. As you lie down, breathe gently and whisper, I practiced as best as I could. Trust that the seeds you planted today will grow, even if you cannot see the sprouts yet. Because practice is not about being perfect, it is about being sincere. And sincerity, drop by drop, becomes transformation. Every joy fades, every sorrow passes. This is one of the simplest truths of Buddhism, and yet one of the hardest for the human heart to accept. We want to hold on to the good times, freeze them in place, and we want to push away the hard times. Pretend they'll never return, but life doesn't work like that. Life is not a stone fixed in the ground, it is a river. Always moving. The Buddha compared clinging to happiness or resisting pain to trying to grasp a flowing stream. The harder you close your fist, the more quickly the water slips away. Peace comes not from fighting the current but from floating with it. When you remind yourself, everything changes, and that's okay, you stop resisting the natural rhythm of life. Astrology gives us cosmic mirrors of this impermanence. The moon waxes full, then wanes into darkness, only to rise again. Mercury goes retrograde, communication breaks down, then it moves forward again. Clarity restored. Saturn spends years teaching us discipline, then moves on to the next sign, shifting lessons to a new arena. The stars are never still. They remind us that transformation is the nature of existence. Just as no planet lingers in one place forever. No feeling, no hardship, no triumph lasts indefinitely. Here's a short meditation. Close your eyes and imagine your worries as clouds drifting across a vast sky. Watch how they form, change shape, and dissolve without you needing to chase them away. Then imagine your joys as rays of sunlight. Let them warm your skin. Then notice how they, too, fade as evening comes. Breathe in and say, this too will pass. Breathe out and whisper, and that is okay. There's a Buddhist parable of a king who asked for a ring that would make him happy when he was sad, and humble when he was joyful. The wise man gave him a ring inscribed with 4 words, this too shall pass. The king discovered that nothing, no suffering, no victory, was permanent. The phrase became his anchor through the storms and celebrations of life. In American folklore, think of the seasons. Winter blankets the land in stillness. Spring bursts with life. Summer glows with abundance. Autumn releases in fiery colors. Each season yields to the next without protest. Imagine if winter clung desperately to its snow, refusing to let spring bloom. The cycle would break, but nature doesn't resist. It flows. That is why we find beauty in the changing year. And so it is with our own lives. Childhood gives way to adulthood. Friendships evolve. Bodies age. Careers shift. Hearts break. Then heal. Then open again. Even grief, as heavy as it feels, eventually softens. To say, everything changes, is not despair, it's a reminder that pain won't last forever. And neither will bliss. Both are visitors, not permanent residents. Think, too, of the stars' long cycles. Pluto takes 248 years to orbit the Sun. Nations rise and fall within a single Pluto cycle. Empires crumble. New cultures are born. What feels eternal in one moment is just a season in the cosmic scale. When you align your heart with this truth, you find the courage to release your grip and let life move. So when joy visits you, embrace it fully, but don't cling. When sorrow comes, allow yourself to feel it, but don't fear it will stay forever. Life is a river, not a stone. Tonight, as you lie in bed, whisper softly, everything changes. And that's okay. Feel your body loosen, your heart unclench. Trust that tomorrow, like the stars and the seasons, will bring something new, because impermanence isn't a curse, it's the gift that makes life precious. Before we close our eyes at night, the mind often contracts into a small circle: our problems, our regrets, our private worries. The practice of metta, or loving kindness, stretches that circle outward until it becomes as vast as the sky. It begins with a simple phrase: may I be safe, may I be peaceful, may I be free. Some people hesitate to start with themselves, thinking it's selfish, but the Buddha reminded us, you cannot pour water from an empty cup. Wishing yourself peace is the soil from which compassion for others grows. Once you've offered it to yourself, extend the wish to those closest to you, your partner, your children, your friends. Picture their faces smiling in health and ease. Whisper inwardly, may you be safe, may you be peaceful, may you be free. Then, challenge your heart to stretch further. Imagine the person who irritated you today, or the one whose words cut deep. See them not as an enemy but as another human caught in their own suffering. Breathe out kindness. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. May you be free. Forgiveness begins to stir when love is extended even to those who wounded us. Finally, let the circle expand without borders. See the whole earth suspended in space: oceans, forests, animals, strangers you will never meet, generations not yet born. Envision a soft light wrapping around it all. Whisper, may all beings be safe, peaceful, and free. In that moment, your mind is no longer trapped in the narrow cage of self. It becomes boundless, like the universe itself. Astrology gives us beautiful symbols for this expansion. When Jupiter, the planet of generosity, shines brightly, it invites us to widen our vision, to think beyond personal gain. Neptune, planet of compassion and dreams, dissolves boundaries, reminding us that separateness is an illusion. Under their influence, mystics have always felt the call to merge the self with the whole. But you don't need to be an astrologer to sense this. Each time you offer loving kindness, you are aligning your inner sky with the same expansive rhythm the cosmos dances to. Here's a short meditation. Sit quietly. Place your hand over your heart. Breathe in and say, may I be safe. Breathe out, may I be peaceful. Repeat, may I be free. Then, with each breath, imagine the circle widening, from yourself, to a loved one, to a stranger, to someone difficult, and finally to the entire planet. Feel your body grow lighter, as if you were dissolving into the same starlit sky that holds every being. There's a Buddhist story of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the one who hears the cries of the world. It is said his 1,000 arms are not literal but symbolic. Each arm represents a heart that dares to care. Every time you whisper, may all beings be safe, peaceful, and free, you become one of those arms. You may not end war or cure disease, but you shift the vibration of your own heart. And that shift ripples outward. American folklore echoes this spirit. During harsh winters, settlers would leave a lantern burning in the window for travelers lost in the snow. That simple gesture meant survival, warmth, life. Loving kindness is like that lantern, a small light you keep burning. Not just for yourself, but for anyone who wanders in darkness. As you lie down tonight, feel the expanse of your compassion. Notice how anger loosens, how fear dissolves when the heart grows large enough to hold the world. This wish, may all beings be safe, peaceful, and free, is not empty poetry. It is armor for the mind, soft but strong. It protects you from being consumed by hatred, resentment, or despair. It turns your final thought before sleep into a blessing, not just for you, but for the entire web of life. And in that vastness, rest comes naturally, because when the heart is this open, even your dreams breathe peace. Each night, just 6 simple reminders can change everything. They close the circle of the day, loosen the grip of regret, and scatter seeds of peace into your heart. When morning comes, you don't just wake rested, you wake wiser, carrying the quiet strength of the night before. This is not theory, it's practice, and practice reshapes a life. On Dharma Veins, we believe these teachings are not ancient relics, but living tools for modern hearts. The Buddha's wisdom, the rhythm of the stars, the stories of history, all remind us of the same truth. Endings are not empty, they are doorways. Tonight, you walked through one with us. Tomorrow, you will walk through another. The question is, what will you carry forward? And what will you release? If this message touched you, I invite you to take one step further. Subscribe to Dharma Veins so that each week, you have new seeds of wisdom to plant in your life. Share this video with someone you love, someone who might be carrying too much into their sleep tonight. And let's grow this circle of peace together. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Out of the 6 reminders, which one spoke to your heart the most this evening? Was it the courage to say, "Today is complete," the softening power of gratitude, the freedom of forgiveness, or the vastness of loving kindness? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your reflections might become the lantern that lights someone else's night. Remember, peace isn't found in escaping life. It's found in living it fully, closing each day with compassion, and opening each morning with clarity. May you rest well tonight. May you rise with wisdom tomorrow. And may all beings, everywhere, be safe, peaceful, and free.